let's talk about liquids. Okay, so on Tuesday we did a quick lesson all about liquids, and we discussed three important facts about liquids. Number one, they take the shape of their container. They do or do not have their own size. They do. And do they take up space? Yes. Okay. So for this assignment, you are going to need crayons, a pencil, scissors, glue. I'm going to put those off to the side now. You also need your notebook for science and social studies. And you need this page from the lesson scans. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to cut out all the way around the border of this page, just all the way around the border. And then you're going to glue it into the next available page in your journal. So I'm going to pause my video so that I can do that, and I want you to pause me so that you can do the same thing. See you in a moment. Okay, so here you can see that I have my paper glued into my book, and I have my pencil, and I'm ready. So at the top, here is the word box that Mrs. Smith had to create because for some reason they didn't make one for you. So we have 5 words we need to fill in. We have space, top, water, frozen water, ice, and cup. Okay, so you can see them. They're right here. Okay, so we are going to write down and we are going to read before we write. We are going to read through the paragraph. We are going to check out how many letter spaces there are. That'll help us figure out the correct word. So what I'd like you to do now is to please pause me and try to read the paragraph on your own, and then come back and we'll read it together just the way, make sure that we have our full understanding. So you know this word. We've been studying that one a lot. Liquids fill the blank of any container they are in. If you pour, I know this is a weird P, if you pour blank into a cup, it will fill up the bottom of the cup first and then fill the blank. If you freeze that cup of water, the blank will be in the shape of the blank. Okay, so first, what we'll do is we'll read through, I'll pause, you try to fill in what you think is the correct answer, and then we'll check the answer together. Liquids fill the blank of any container they are in. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. I think that actually this is the correct answer, and it looks like Mrs. Smith wrote the wrong word at the top. She might be a little bit crazy. I'll tell you, it's never good to take videos of your own lessons. You start noticing all the mistakes. They fill the shape of the container. The word space would also fit there, but the word shape is better because we know that water doesn't have its own shape. It has to have the shape of the container. And actually what just happened there was Mrs. Smith said, "Oh my gosh," and then Mr. Smith said, "What? What's wrong?" And then he realized I was still doing my video. I was talking to myself and you guys. Okay. If you pour blank into a cup, what would we pour into a cup? Water into a cup. It will fill up the bottom of the cup first and then fill the opposite, the top. If you freeze that cup of water, The blank will be in the shape of the blank. What do you call frozen water? It's called ice. That's now become a solid. The ice will be in the shape of the cup. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'd like you to color in the objects that are liquids. So I'm going to pause my video so then it'll magically show them all colored in. And I want you to pause me so you can color in all of the liquids, please. If you want to be really tricky, why don't you label what are solids, what is a liquid, and then decide what is located inside the balloon. Okay, see you in a moment. Time to check our answers. So I colored in the liquids just like it said. So we have the liquid in the form of a puddle, liquid milk, and then also we have liquid inside this glass. But I was not going to be tricked, guys, because they also put these ice cubes in there. Ice cubes are not liquids, they are solids. So we have a solid pencil, and we also have a solid strawberry and a solid book. Now the question is, what is inside the balloon? That's a gas. Okay, so this next part of the activity kind of depends on what you want to do. You can do both, so you don't have to think of, you don't have to be concerned that you can't do both. You can do both if you want to, but you can also just choose one or the other. So the first activity would involve magazines. So if you have some magazines that your mom, dad, whomever wouldn't mind you borrowing, you can use the magazines, and you should open to the next page in your journal, turn your journal, and then we're going to have a little fun with this. I'm going to make my camera a little smaller. Okay, get more light. Oh boy, crooked. Okay, you ready? All right, so we have entitled our page as liquids, and what we need to do now is we need to go into our magazines that we have been told are okay to cut up, and we are going to find some liquids. So I'm going to keep on looking through here until I locate some liquids, and then I'm going to carefully cut out some liquids. So what you want to do is try to locate, I'm going to say in the classroom, we would probably try to locate at least 10 different liquids. And then what we do is once we have it cut out, we glue it onto our page. That. Okay, and so we would probably try to find at least 10. If you want to do more, that would be spectacular. So this is the first assignment. The first assignment is you create this page in your journal. You have some magazines that someone wouldn't mind you cutting out and cutting apart and finding some liquids and gluing them onto your page. Now, what happens if A, I don't have any magazines, or B, I don't want to do the magazine activity? Turn to the next page. Or C, I want to do both. And I need these two papers from our lesson scans. So what I'd like you to do is I'm going to make a force field. I don't really need all of this, so I'm just going to make a force field around the T-chart, which we know is a T-chart because it looks like a T. You got it right. And now I'm going to cut out this part of my T-chart and glue it into my book. So I'm going to pause for a moment so I can do that, and you should do that as well if this is the assignment you wish to do, or if you wish to do both. Okay, see you in a moment. All right, so we're all glued in. This T-chart on the left-hand side asks us for solids, solid, and on this side is asking us for liquid, liquid. I created my own because they didn't have enough in my opinion, and what you should do is you should look through each of these items, cut each of them out, and then decide if it is a solid, it goes on the left. If it is a liquid, it goes on the right. So here is an example. The first one is this acorn. An acorn is an example of a solid. It has its own shape no matter what, unless I crack it into little pieces and the shape changes. And here is an example of a liquid. Now, of course, we know that a liquid needs a container, but this is an example of a liquid milkshake. Okay, so here we have a liquid and here we have a solid. So what I would do is I would go through each of these pictures and decide, is it an example of a container holding a liquid or another form of a liquid, or is it an example of a solid? And then glue it in each individual spot. If you want to do this one, that's great. If you want to do the magazine one, that's great. If you want to do both, great, 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 great. All right. Hope you've had fun. I don't know if you guys can tell, but science is one of my favorites. So we'll do some more fun things in the future.